everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for this week's crafting project. So for this week we are going to go over how to do some paper quilling. So if you're not familiar, it's essentially where we can take little thin strips of paper and we roll them, and then we can use them to kind of build out and create a bigger design. So it takes a little bit of patience, but it's a lot of fun, and I think it's a really cool result. So I will show you how to do some basic shapes and show you how to do a project with it. So all we kind of need to get started is a piece of paper that we can use as our base, the quilling stick, which for our families that are staying in the house will be provided for you. But if you are home and you have some help, you can, to get started, if you use a long kind of stick, and then you can put a little slit at the top of it so that you can hold your paper. You can also just kind of like twirl the paper around anything that you can kind of use it to hold steady. And we're also going to be just using some regular school glue stick. So yeah, and then we also have, of course, our paper that we're going to use to kind of spin to make our different shapes. So with that, let's get crafty. So to just get started, we're just going to use some really thin strips of paper. For our families that are staying in the house, we'll make sure to provide a variety of colors for you. But if you are home, all you have to do is just use any type of paper that you can cut really kind of thin strips out. It looks best if it's all uniform, but it's completely understandable that it's not really possible if you don't have it already kind of cut for you. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start off by showing you how to do some of the basic shapes, and but just to really get started, so we have our stick that we're gonna help use to twirl our paper. So we're gonna, like, the ones that they kind of make have a really tiny little spot that you can put a piece of paper in to hold steady, and then all we're gonna do is just start by twisting so we can get like a little spiral. And you want to try to get it to, I didn't, but you want to try to get it to kind of just build on it and be even. And then whenever we go through the whole piece of paper, you can just pull it right off. And this, you're going to want to let it go. So it's a little spiral. So you just want to let it go a little bit, so it kind of will be easier to make into a shape. Depending on how much shape you want to kind of, you can even help it along. And then what you're going to do is you would take, make sure on the end that's the end of the paper, and you're going to press it to be whatever shape you want it to be. So we can start off with doing the more teardrop of a shape. So just kind of pressing it so that it makes it into a teardrop. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back right over this side, and we're gonna put a little bit of glue with our glue stick, and then press it down so that it can set. Just kind of hold it. All right, so we got the teardrop one. I'm going to show you how to do a couple different shapes, but that's kind of how you get started. So the next one that we're going to do, I'm just going to show you how to do a basic circle. And then we just put it down and let it get to however much of the shape you want it. So, and then we're gonna do a little bit of glue. Then you can kind of pull it back, and then you want to make sure it holds the circle, so you don't want to press too hard. So just kind of make it like that. And then what the idea is that we're going to be working on a piece of paper as kind of our canvas. So for this, if we wanted to do like a flower, you would just do the glue on your canvas and then press it down on there while it dries. All right, so we have a large circle, and I showed the teardrops before, so we could do something like that. And then I can show you how to do an S shape. So we would start with half of our paper going this way. So you would twirl half the paper in either a clockwise or a counterclockwise, depending on what you're doing, and then you would hold that, and then the other way you would go the opposite direction. So as we come back to the middle, so I really didn't know what was half, but the idea that like we kind of have different spirals. So then that way you can kind of build your design out. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a tougher shape. All right, so now that we're getting here, all right, so we just did this one, and then we're gonna let it kind of expand a little bit. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pinch from both sides down. Now we have kind of an eye looking shape. So we do the same thing with our glue. All right, so same thing. Ooh, just let it kind of go, get a little bit of space, and you can pull it back through. So now we have a little diamond, kind of how that, so just by pinching the edges and then going back and pinching the other direction, you can get different shapes. All right, so as you start to get some of your different shapes going, what you can do is that you can, as you're building on your canvas, you can make different designs. So something I was working on a little while ago is this flower. So I can kind of finish out some of the designs that I was doing. So like on here I have my S shape right there, and then I have some different teardrops and circles. All I did was I traced an outline of the flower and the leaves that I was going to do, and then that way I could just fill it back in with the different shapes that I was making. So for example, I made this little teardrop guy earlier, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some glue on one side of it, and then I can put it wherever I want to in my flower and just kind of press down on here, and then I can fill it out with some other designs. So like I said before, it definitely takes a lot of time, but I think it's a fun project to work on. So here's kind of the progress that I've made so far on it today, just kind of adding some more details. So yeah, I hope you guys have fun doing this, and please share whatever creation that you come up with. I would love to see it. It's a fun thing, and if you have any questions, you can always email at programsteam@play@rmh-NY.org, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.